Good, happy Friday morning. Is Friday, June 23rd, 2023. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on RK Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, let's take a quick look at your traffic this Friday morning and see how the roadways look like for all of you on this Friday morning. And here is a look at your morning traffic map for this Friday morning, as you can see here. On 93 heading into Massachusetts, you got a nice smooth sailing ride. On 293, a nice smooth sailing ride as well. 89, a nice smooth sailing ride as well. Over on 393 between Concord and Chichester, you got a nice, fairly smooth sailing ride as well. Route 4, you got a nice smooth sailing ride with some medium pace traffic. Route 16 of the Spalding, nice smooth sailing ride with a few spots of medium pace traffic as well. 95 from Maine, New Hampshire into the border of Massachusetts, a nice smooth sailing ride as well. 101, a nice smooth sailing ride with a few spots of medium pace traffic as well. And Merrimack, Nashua into that border of Massachusetts. Nice smooth sailing ride as well. No major issues to report just yet on this Friday morning on your morning commute traffic. That is a look at your traffic for this Friday morning. Now let's get into some weather real quick as well. And here is meteorologist Mike Haddad with a weather forecast.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or Seacoast Power Sports on Route 1 in Hampton Falls. Take advantage of rebates as high as $2,000 on select Kawasaki models. Kawasaki Street.
Thank you very much for joining us, Stormwatch 9 Weather on the Web, moving towards another weekend. This one is going to feature a big shift in the overall weather pattern. The nice, comfortable air that's been overhead the last couple of days and even into early on Friday is going to give way to a humid and unsettled pattern for Friday and especially over the weekend into a good part of next week. Now, in terms of rain chances, very low, spotty overnight tonight, mainly in the southern half of the state. And again, Friday evening could be a shower or thunder shower. And then a better bet of scattered showers, downpours, and storms from Saturday into Sunday in a good part of next week. No, it won't be raining the entire time, but with oppressive humidity building in, we could see some locally heavy rain and some brief gusty winds with some lightning in any storm that does fire up. At least for now, enjoy the comfortable air locked in place right through early on Friday morning. Then it does turn sticky during the afternoon again. Dew points climb, humidity up there in a big way, bordering on oppressive for the weekend into part of next week. So for now, we're tracking this storm down in the deep south, slowly rising up towards the mid-Atlantic states and in towards the northeast. But at least for now, the air's so dry, so the showers are breaking apart. Crystal clear this evening. Could be a few clouds by morning, and then maybe a shower that survives the trip in here after 1 or 2 a.m. in far southern New Hampshire. And you can see that played out on our Futurecast. Clear all night up north. Temperatures fall back into the upper 40s. Southern New Hampshire, a bit more humid by daybreak with a lot of clouds. And here's that chance of a passing shower here or there, but not a whole lot of rain expected Friday morning. Later Friday morning through the afternoon, clouds, maybe a few bright spots here or there, and a low chance of a shower or thunder shower towards evening with temperatures back into the 60s along the coast and 70s elsewhere. Then tomorrow night into Saturday, the humidity ramps up even more with numerous chances of scattered showers, downpours, and thunderstorms. That'll be played out Sunday and on and off through next week. High temperatures on your Friday despite the clouds, 70s to around 80 far west. Mid-upper 60s along the coastline. And then on Saturday, we're into the 70s to near 80 in many spots. But the noticeable change starting later tomorrow into the weekend, it's going to be that humidity really up there. Dew points quite high right through next week. Scattered showers and thunderstorms on and off Saturday and on Sunday. Now, having said that, there will be many rain and storm-free hours, so it's tough to plan outdoor activities. You may have several hours where it's not raining, and then all of a sudden you get in on a downpour or a thunderstorm, and that'll be the case going forward starting on Saturday.
Okay, and there you go on that weather forecast. Tough to plan, as you heard, with some chances of rain for the rest of the week. And now let's get to your news right now. First up, sources arrest of former state rep is connected to woman accused of taking explicit photos of children in her care. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or Seacoast Power Sports on Route 1 in Hampton Falls. Take it.
We begin with breaking news tonight. Sources telling News 9 investigates that the arrest of a former state representative accused of distributing child sexual abuse images is connected to a Hudson woman accused of taking explicit photos of children at the daycare where she worked. Thank you for joining us. I'm Monica Hernandez.
And I'm Steve Botari. Sources are not saying what exactly the connection is between those two at this point. So we'll start with the former child care worker, Lindsay Groves. This one here is facing both state charges in New Hampshire and now federal charges in Massachusetts. Prosecutors say she worked at the Creative Minds Early Learning Center in Tingsboro, Mass. And according to the court documents, Groves admitted to an investigator she took multiple images of children in a private bathroom and then texted those images to a former partner. Groves waived her court appearance on state charges in Nashua today. On the way out of the courtroom, her parents telling News 9 they believe their daughter is innocent. Groves is being held without bail. And tonight, the Child Care Center has now released this statement saying, quote, Creative Minds Early Education is cooperating fully with law enforcement to ensure a complete and extensive investigation into the allegations regarding a single former staff member. We want to ensure our families that their children's safety and privacy is of the utmost importance.
And then tonight, Nashua police announced a second arrest. Former state representative Stacey Lawton of Derry. She's facing multiple counts now of distribution of child sexual abuse images. Investigators say they responded to a call on Tuesday that led them to Lawton. She was arrested today and is being held on preventative detention. She resigned from the State House last year and has faced a series of legal troubles dating back more than a decade. We do expect to learn more tomorrow when Lawton is scheduled to be in court.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Thieves break into Nashua Little League concession stand. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or Seacoast.
They just ripped it all apart and took the register itself.
There's still some work to do.
And when you close the door, it doesn't close completely anymore.
But it's a big improvement over what the volunteers with the Nashua Little League found Wednesday morning at their concession stand. The front window knocked in, snacks and supplies thrown on the ground, their cash register and the few $100s inside stolen.
I can't think of a worse group of people or organization to steal from. It's really sad.
Alex Camo is on the board of aldermen in Nashua and used to be president of the Little League. He says the organization, which gives more than 200 local kids the chance to play ball, relies on the stand to keep running.
They are able to offer youth baseball to a lot of low-income families in the city at little to no cost, and a lot of that money does come from concessions, so this had to potentially be a pretty big hit.
Volunteers able to get the stand cleaned up ahead of their youth championship game. Cabo says their hard work shows just how much the league means to Nashua families.
I mean, it's a testament to how good the people are that work for this league, that volunteer their time. I mean, nobody comes down here to sling hot dogs to become a millionaire. They do it to support these kids that are playing baseball behind me.
Some of those stolen items, including the register, have been found, but not the cash inside.
I hope that the kids that did this, have a hard time sleeping, and I hope that they're brought to justice, and I have full faith that the Nashua Police Department will do a thorough investigation and they'll bring them to justice.
And the director of the concession stand here at the Little League does tell us that during their championship game tonight, they were able to bring in about $300 in sales, so that's a nice boost for them moving forward. Meanwhile, the Nashua Police Department is continuing to investigate what happened here. They do say they have a few suspects they're looking into. Live in Nashua, Ross Ketchke, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. CVS to pay $70,000 over allegations that some pharmacies in New Hampshire filled fake prescriptions. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or see...
The Controlled Substances Act says a valid prescription for a controlled substance must be issued for a legitimate purpose by a legitimate healthcare professional. U.S. Attorney Jane Young says that wasn't the case when 41 prescriptions were filled in multiple New Hampshire CVS pharmacies.
There were convictions of individuals who had passed false prescriptions.
That criminal investigation led by the DEA involved Theodoros Batsevenos and Jane Mastrogiovanni, who both pled guilty in their roles of having the prescriptions filled under false pretenses. Young says the pharmacist's role in knowing a real prescription versus a fake is imperative.
There is an epidemic in this country and in particular in this state with overdose deaths, so those drugs could get into the hands of individuals who would resell them or individuals who themselves are abusing drugs.
A statement from CVS reads, quote, "This agreement avoids time and expense of litigation concerning 41 allegedly forged prescriptions, none of which were opioid medications, that were filled between 5 and 7 years ago at certain CVS pharmacy locations in New Hampshire." It goes on to say they worked with law enforcement as soon as they were aware of the alleged forgeries and that this agreement is an admission of liability or wrongdoing. Young says they will continue to follow through with both criminal and civil violations of the Controlled Substances Act, sending the message to pharmacies to follow all regulations. In Portsmouth, Kelly O'Brien, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Officials warn COVID-19 tests sent to Medicare recipients could be sign of fraud. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or see...
Yeah, guys, the U.S. Attorney's Office and New Hampshire's Attorney General says they've been getting calls about this for about 2 months now, and there's the concern that these tests showing up in the mail for folks on Medicare who never ordered them could mean those individuals' Medicare information has been compromised. Scammers potentially using it to fraudulently order those tests and putting it all on the taxpayer's dime. The Attorney General says Medicare account information can be just as valuable as your credit card or social security number to a potential scammer. Now, if you get one of these tests in the mail but did not order one, you're urged to call this tip line. It's 1-800-447-8477. One more time, that's 1-800-447-8477. You'll be able to speak live with an investigator who can help you determine whether or not your account information has been compromised.
So the information that they will provide will be sort of their address, their name, when they got the kit, and then investigators will follow up on that to determine if it was in fact fraudulent or not.
And also another reminder from the U.S. Attorney's Office tonight, they say that no one from Medicare will ever call you offering free services. That includes things like COVID-19 testing kits. If you do get a call like that, claiming to be from Medicare, offering you free goods or services, they urge you to hang up and report it. Live in Manchester, Ross Ketchke, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. In New Hampshire visit, Christie says voters need more choices than Biden and Trump. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or...
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie at the Red Arrow Diner today talking to voters. Christie announced his run for president at a New Hampshire town hall at the end of May and held an event in Derry last night. Christie says he's running a solid third place in recent polls and voters should have more choices than just the current and former president.
The people of this country do not want a choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden next November. 75% of them say that. New Hampshire can be the state that sets that on the right course.
Christie went on to say that Biden is not the right person to lead our country and doesn't think Trump can beat him.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire lawmakers agree on language of a bill to ban gay panic defense. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Rebate season is here. Now is the time to visit Rochester Motorsports on Route 11 in Rochester or
ultimately, what this bill is trying to do is protect LGBTQ individuals from violence.
A House and Senate committee reaching an agreement on the so-called gay panic defense bill. Banning the legal strategy would prevent people accused of homicide from using the victim's gender identity or sexual orientation as a defense to bump it down to a manslaughter. Lawmakers meeting today to work on the bill's language.
We limited it to homicide where it belonged. It was earlier in another section that would have given a more broad implication.
They also wanted to make sure it wouldn't have any unintended consequences, including limiting the right to self-defense.
Absolutely, self-defense is still permitted in this situation. We're talking about homicide.
A House amendment would have expanded the bill to include race and religion, but lawmakers said they'll revisit that next year.
I have a lot of co-sponsors from the House Criminal Justice Committee and the Senate who have said that they're willing to work on those expansions, but that in this instance, just the gay panic defense was what we needed to move forward on.
The bill still has to go back to the House and Senate for final approval before heading to the governor's desk. In Concord, Hannah Cotter, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Missing sub imploded near Titanic's wreckage, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Avoiding athlete's foot? Prevent it with Lotrimin Daily Prevention so you can go with confidence.
What is the one thing that major champ Justin Rose loves about the beach? Getting off of it.
We begin with a major development in the search for that missing submersible in the Atlantic Ocean. Coast Guard officials say the vessel suffered a, quote, catastrophic implosion near the wreckage of the Titanic, killing all 5 people on board. It's the worst possible outcome for the international team of rescuers who were racing against time to save the lives of those passengers. Earlier today, 2 debris fields were discovered less than 2,000 feet from the Titanic by a Canadian ship's remotely operated vehicle. It was scanning the ocean floor. Experts say the debris fields are consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. The Coast Guard said 5 major pieces of the vessel have been found, but it is not clear if recovery of the bodies will ever be possible. CBS's Roxana Saberi, who's been covering these developments all week, leads us off tonight from Boston. Roxana.
Good evening, Jerika. The Coast Guard here in Boston, which led the international search efforts, says it's too soon to tell why the submersible imploded. They're offering condolences to the families of the 5 passengers on board who lost their lives.
A tragic end to a frantic search.
This morning, an ROV, or remote-operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible.
The debris of the missing submersible Titan was found about 1,600 feet from the Titanic wreckage.
This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel.
The cause of the implosion is still unknown, but all 5 people aboard were killed. OceanGate founder Stockton Rush, billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son Suleiman, and French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet. The Titan has been missing since Sunday, when it descended to the Titanic wreckage site about 2.5 miles beneath the North Atlantic. sparking a massive international search covering about 10,000 square miles. The company OceanGate Expeditions charges $250,000 to see the Titanic up close. Pierre Wimmer, an explorer himself, says he got to know the company's CEO, Stockton Rush, when he was considering a dive years ago.
Stockton obviously was a deep-sea explorer who did what few people have done.
But OceanGate has faced criticism from a group of experts in the submersible industry who wrote a letter to the company in 2018 warning of possible catastrophic problems. One of those experts, Will Cohen, said the Titan hadn't passed safety standards.
There are only 10 vehicles in the whole world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified, except the Titan.
While Wimmer mourns for his friend, he believes this setback will not stop other people from deep water exploring.
We've never been held back by defeats along the way. The quest will continue for exploration.
And tonight, a Navy official tells CBS News that the Navy detected what it called an acoustic anomaly consistent with an implosion shortly after the Titan lost contact on Sunday. The official says the information was shared with the Coast Guard, which used it to narrow down the search area. Jerika?
All right, Roxana Saberi, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. That does it for this edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on RK Network. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Goodbye.